has settled over the forests of Cambodia. Beneath a sky of faint stars, warm rain has passed through the leaves, and the air carries the fragrance of wet earth, flowering vines, and distant water. Far beyond the last small village lamp, a road enters the old heart of Angkor. It runs between dark trees and low fields silvered by moonlight. The road is quiet, yet it does not feel empty. Somewhere, a cartwheel turns once in the distance. Frogs call from a flooded hollow. A palm frond lifts, then lets the night wind pass. Ahead, through a veil of mist, stone begins to rise. First there is only a shadow with a straight edge. Then towers appear, pale against the deep blue sky, their shapes gathered like unopened lotus buds. This is Angkor, around the year 1200, when roads, canals, temples, markets, and royal cities are joined across a wide tropical plain. At this hour, the great monuments seem less like monuments than companions in the dark. Their walls hold the day's warmth. Their carvings keep small pools of shadow. Water rests near them, still enough to reflect a single star. The journey can begin slowly, on foot, along a path softened by rain. There is no need to hurry toward the towers. Angkor will reveal itself in layers. A moated gate, a lantern in a doorway, a boat moving through reeds, the scent of incense beneath a carved roof. For now, the jungle breathes around the sleeping city, and the distant stone waits in the moonlight. The great city is still awake in small ways. A guard shifts beside a gate. A kitchen ember dims beneath ash. Water moves through a channel beyond the trees. These modest sounds make the first sight of Angkor feel lived in, not distant. The road ahead will pass from forest to water, from water to stone, and from stone into the many human rooms of the night. Each step will bring another small light, another reflection, and another trace of the city beneath its canopy of leaves, beneath a slow turning sky above the trees. The path narrows beneath tall trees. Their roots rise from the soil like quiet folds of old cloth, and the branches above hold pockets of darkness between broad leaves. Water slips from one leaf to another after the evening rain. This forest is not separate from Angkor. It is part of its border, its shade, and its memory. The city has been placed within a living landscape of ponds, embankments, palms, rice land, and woodland. In daylight, people pass along these roads carrying baskets, tools, letters, and offerings. At night, the roads become gentle lines leading inward. A firefly appears near the path, then another. Their small lights drift among the trunks, briefly brighter than the stars behind the canopy. Somewhere nearby, a wooden house rests on short stilts. Its family has already put out most of its lamps. A clay jar stands beneath the eaves to catch rainwater, and a dog gives one soft bark before settling again. The road begins to widen. The ground is firmer here, raised above the wet fields. It has been kept in order by many hands over many years. Such roads help bind Angkor to villages, shrines, reservoirs, and places far beyond the horizon. They carry rice, stone, timber, fish, cloth, and news. Through the trees, a low glow shows where a watchfire burns near a crossing. Two travelers sit beside it, their voices too quiet to distinguish. The scent of smoke joins the sweet scent of crushed grass. Beyond the crossing, the forest opens. The night sky returns in a broad, dark arc, and the first water of Angkor lies ahead. Before the water, there are signs that the road belongs to a larger world. A row of young trees has been planted beside an embankment. A small shrine faces the path, its offering bowl covered against rain. Farther on, wheel marks remain in the damp earth, left by carts that traveled here before sunset. The jungle is full of movement too small to see. Beetles work beneath the leaves. Birds settle high in the branches. A lizard crosses the warm side of a stone. The road receives all of this quietly, carrying each traveler inward toward the lights of Angkor. In a clearing, rain has collected in the broad print of an elephant's foot. A moth circles it once and disappears into the grass. The forest and the city are already close enough to share the same wet air. The water beside the road is wider than a pond and calmer than a river. It is a moat, dark and level, holding the sky in a long reflected strip. Lotus leaves float near the bank. A frog slips from mud into water without a sound. Across the moat, a stone entrance rises through mist. Its gate is framed by towers and carved figures, softened by moonlight. The crossing is broad enough for carts, people, animals, and processions. By day, it is busy with feet and wheels. Tonight, it holds only a few lanterns, each one moving slowly. Along the bridge, figures of gods and demons grasp the long body of a serpent. Their hands are worn smooth in places, yet their patient line still carries the old story of the churning ocean. The stone seems almost warm under the night air, as if it has remembered the sun. Beyond them, immense faces look outward from the gate. They are serene rather than stern. Their half-closed eyes seem to regard the road, the water, and the trees with the same calm attention. No one hurries beneath such faces. Angkor's builders understood water as well as stone. Moats and ponds offered beauty, protection, and a way to guide the wet season across the plain. A city of this size depended on careful channels, raised roads, and reservoirs. Even in darkness, the order can be felt in the straight banks and measured reflections. A small boat passes below the bridge. Its oar makes a soft circle in the water. The sound fades, and the road continues through the gate toward the deeper city. At the far end of the crossing, a watchman adjusts the wick of a lamp. Its light touches the wet stone and makes a small golden path. He knows the night road, the change in the wind, and the sound of a cart long before it appears. Behind him, the moat keeps its dark mirror. In front of him, the gate opens onto roads lined with trees and ponds. The passage between water and city is so measured that even the quietest traveler can feel a threshold being crossed. At the base of the gate, a little rainwater runs along a carved edge and falls into the moat. The sound is small, almost hidden, but it joins the wider water that protects and reflects the city. The path turns southward, and the towers of Angkor Wat appear beyond the trees. Although the last color of evening has gone, the temple still gathers light. Its galleries, courtyards, and central peaks seem to hold a pale glow of their own. Angkor Wat was raised in the early 12th century, first as a temple dedicated to Vishnu. Its form carries the image of Mount Meru, the sacred mountain at the center of the universe. Yet, at night, the vast design becomes simple again. Water, stone, sky, and the quiet shape of towers above them all. The western moat lies before it, broad enough to make the temple feel distant and self-contained. Moonlight moves across the surface in broken threads. On the far side, the long causeway reaches toward the entrance. A few late visitors walk there with covered lamps, their small reflections following beneath them. Within the galleries, carved scenes wait in shadow. Kings and warriors, gods and oceans, dancers and celestial beings are pressed into the walls with delicate care. In the dimness, no single scene asks to be read. The carvings become a quiet texture, like leaves against a night sky. Near a doorway, incense lingers from an evening offering. Its smoke has drifted upward and vanished among the stone beams. A bat passes through the open air of a courtyard. Somewhere, water falls from a spout into a basin with a gentle, repeated sound. Angkor Wat is immense, but the night makes it intimate. One step, one lamp, one breath of warm air beneath an arch is enough to feel its presence. The temple remains behind as the road leads toward the places where people still finish the ordinary work of their day. Along the outer wall, grass brushes the feet of a late walker. He pauses to look back at the towers, then continues toward the houses beyond the moat. The temple does not need to be entered to shape the night. Its outline is enough, resting above the water like a calm thought. The farther road carries the scent of cooking fires and damp wood. Behind it, the galleries of Angkor Wat grow quieter, while the living city begins to draw near. Above the moat, a thin cloud uncovers the moon. The temple's outline sharpens for a moment, then softens again. It is enough to carry that image onward. Towers, water, and the night road. Away from the temple walls, the city is made of quieter things. Wooden homes, garden paths, wells, boats tied beneath trees, and small shrines brightened by a single flame. The great stone buildings are only part of Angkor. Most lives unfold close to timber, clay, water, and shade. Along a canal, a woman rinses a bowl in the last of the evening light. A child carries a bundle of reeds toward a house. Nearby, someone has set rice to steam, and its warm scent drifts through an open wall. The day has been full, but the night asks less of everyone. Canals thread through the low ground, linking ponds, fields, and larger waterways. They carry water where it is useful, and carry away water when the rains are heavy. Small boats move across them with fish baskets, vegetables, pottery, or passengers resting beneath woven covers. The rhythm of the city follows the seasons. During the rains, water gathers everywhere, in ditches, courtyards, rice fields, and the deep reservoirs that lie beyond the trees. During drier months, banks and channels help preserve what the fields will need. The work is patient, repeated, and shared. A man kneels at the edge of a pond to wash dust from his hands. His torch rests in the mud beside him. Across the water, the reflection of a roof trembles as a fish rises and disappears. Behind the houses, voices become fewer. Doors are drawn closed. The canal carries a last boat beneath hanging branches, and the city's daily life begins to soften into the sounds of water and insects. One house still has a lamp at its doorway. An older woman mends a net while someone beside her sorts small fish into a bowl. They speak only now and then. Their work is familiar enough to continue in the dim light, with the canal close by and the night air cooling the room. Across a narrow footbridge, a young man carries a covered basket home. He steps around a puddle where the moon is caught between the boards. Such moments, repeated across many lanes, make the great city feel close and human. A hand closes a shutter. A water jar is covered for the night. In the lane, the faint sound of sandals fades, and the canal continues under the bridge without needing to be noticed. The market has almost finished for the night, but it still holds a little warmth and motion. Mats lie on the ground beneath awnings. Baskets of fruit, herbs, fish, and small clay lamps wait to be carried away. A seller counts a few last coins by lantern light. Angkor draws goods from many directions. Rice arrives from nearby fields. Forest products come along wooded roads. Cloth, ceramics, metals, fragrant resins, and items from distant coasts pass through the hands of merchants. The empire feels large here, not as an idea, but as a collection of useful objects on a woven mat. At one edge of the market, an artisan puts away small tools. During the day, he has worked on a wooden panel for a house. Nearby, another worker has shaped a bronze fitting, while a potter's vessels cool beneath a cloth. Skilled hands make the city durable and beautiful in ways that rarely appear in royal inscriptions. The market also carries news. A traveler may speak of a flooded road. A boatman may mention a distant shrine. Two neighbors exchange a message that will wait until morning. Such small exchanges join the city as surely as the wide roads and canals. Now the sound of trade fades. One by one, lamps are covered. A cat steps between empty baskets. The air smells of banana leaf, ash, and crushed coriander. The last stall is folded away. Beyond the market, an open road leads toward the walled royal city, where lanterns still shine under taller trees. Near the road, a weaver carries a folded length of cloth from her stall. Its pattern is simple, but the edges have been finished with care. A carpenter closes the shutters of his workspace. In the morning, both will return to the same patient work of making things useful and beautiful. The market ground is left bare, except for a few leaves and a fallen sprig of herbs. Rain will wash it clean before dawn. The road beyond is wider and more formal, drawing the eye toward the royal gates. For a little while, the market remembers the day in its sense. Wood smoke, ripe fruit, wet baskets, and warm cloth. Then even these begin to thin in the cool air of the road. The road from the market opens into a broader, quieter space. Here the city feels planned on a different scale. Trees stand back from the way, and earthen banks, pools, and straight roads lead the eye toward distant gates. Angkor Wat rises within its walls, a royal city large enough to hold neighborhoods, temples, ponds, workshops, and the many quiet tasks that keep a kingdom moving. Around this time, the memory of King Jayavarman VII remains close to the stones of Angkor. His reign has left hospitals, rest houses, roads, temples, and the great walled city itself. These works speak of royal power, but also of care along a road, water for a traveler, shelter from rain, help for the ill. At night, this order is felt gently beneath the trees. The gate ahead is crowned with immense faces looking in 4 directions. Below them, gods and demons hold the long body of a serpent. Their stone hands rest in shadow, keeping watch over everyone who comes and goes. Inside the gate, the air is cooler. A cart has recently passed, leaving the scent of damp wood and animal hide. 2 officials walk beside a torchbearer, speaking softly about something that can wait until morning. An elephant moves toward its enclosure with such care that the ground seems to accept each footstep. The empire reaches beyond these plains toward forests, rivers, and distant coasts. Its size can be sensed in roads that meet here, goods at the market, canals tended by workers, and ceremonies that gather people together. A city becomes imperial through countless hands that repair a bank, guide a boat, carve a beam, or set a lamp in a doorway. Along a quiet pond, the reflection of the gate trembles between lotus leaves. The faces above seem to float upside down in the water. A breeze passes. The image loosens, then settles again. The road curves toward the heart of Angkor Thom. Ahead, a cluster of towers gathers like a forest made from stone. The Bayon is waiting, with its many faces turned toward the night. Beside the road, a rest pavilion stands open. It holds a water jar and a broom leaned against the wall. The plainness of the place is reassuring. It has been made for a burden to be lowered, for rain to be waited out, and for a traveler to gather strength before continuing. The Bayon stands near the center of Angkor Thom, rising from the dark like a hill of carved stone. Its towers are crowded together, each one bearing calm human faces that look across the city in several directions. By moonlight, the faces seem to appear and disappear as the path changes. One is high above a gallery. Another looks through a gap between towers. Their expressions are gentle, composed, and difficult to name. They do not demand attention. They simply remain. The temple belongs to the world of Jayavarman VII, a Buddhist king whose city joined sacred purpose with royal authority. Around the Bayon, galleries show scenes of court life, boats, battles, markets, and ordinary work. Stone remembers a crowd, a fish seller, a rower, a cook, and an elephant driver. Tonight the galleries are nearly empty. A monk crosses an inner court with a small lamp held low. The flame makes the carvings beside him rise briefly from shadow, then return to it. From an upper level, the scent of damp stone and old incense comes down with the cooler air. Outside, Angkor Thom rests within its walls. Ponds hold the moon. Roofs lie among trees. A watchfire glows at a distance, and a night bird calls once from the gate road. The many faces of the Bayon remain above it all. They look over the sleeping streets without alarm, as if the city itself has learned the stillness of a temple. Past the galleries, water can be heard again, moving quietly toward the fields beyond the walls. In a covered passage, the floor is cool beneath bare feet. A small offering of flowers rests in a shallow niche. The petals are beginning to curl at their edges, but their color still brightens the stone. A thin line of smoke reaches upward from a lamp and disappears. The bayon is not silent because nothing has happened there. It is silent because the day's ceremonies, footsteps, and voices have come to rest. Its carved faces hold the remaining quiet as water holds the moon. A breeze reaches the upper towers and passes through them. It touches carved lips, worn edges, and the open spaces between stone blocks, then moves outward into the trees of Angkor Wat. Outside the royal walls, the land opens into water and rice. Low fields extend beneath the moon, divided by narrow banks where grass bends in the wind. The scent of wet soil is deep and clean after rain. Angkor depends on this plain. Rice feeds households, workers, travelers, temples, and the busy life of the city. Fields are not separate from the monuments. They are part of the same great arrangement, joined by roads, channels, ponds, and people who understand the seasons. In the wet months, rain fills ditches and reservoirs. Water moves through carefully tended channels, sometimes swift, sometimes almost still. In drier times, stored water helps keep the fields green. The system is not a single machine, but a landscape of small decisions made over generations. At the edge of a field, a farmer checks a narrow opening in an earthen bank. He lets a little water pass, then closes the gap with his foot. Nearby, a buffalo stands half asleep in shallow water, its dark back shining under the moon. A boat glides along a canal hidden by reeds. Its passenger holds a covered lamp, and the yellow light travels through the reflection of stars. From a distant house comes the soft beat of grain being prepared for the morning. The fields grow quieter as the night deepens. Water remains everywhere, in the paddies, in the canals, in the moats, and in the slow breathing of the land around Angkor. Along one bank, seedlings stand in neat green lines. Their leaves make a fine pattern against the dark water. A family will return at first light to tend this plot, as others tend their own nearby. The work is local and humble, yet it supports the markets, roads, temples, and households of the wider city. Clouds pass over the moon, and the fields grow darker for a moment. When the light returns, every channel shines again, The road now turns toward a more wooded country where temple stones rest under the trees. Near the road, the grass is wet to the ankle. A night insect clings to a blade and waits for the wind to settle. Beyond the last field, the tree line becomes a single dark wall. The road leaves the open fields and returns to forest. Here, smaller temples rest beneath roots and branches. Their stones are damp with night air. Ferns grow from cracks in the walls, and the ground is soft with fallen leaves. Some shrines are close to villages. Others stand farther away, where paths become narrow and the trees lean together. They are not abandoned places in this time, but quiet places of worship and rest. A lamp may burn inside a doorway. A bowl of flowers may wait at the foot of a carved image. The jungle does not silence the stone. It gives the stone another kind of company. Cicadas pulse in the dark. A gecko calls from a beam. Rainwater gathers in a shallow carving and falls, one drop at a time, into the leaves below. At a small sanctuary, a traveler pauses beneath a roof. His sandals are muddy from the road. He drinks from a jar, listens to the rain begin again beyond the trees, and waits until the sound becomes softer. The temple walls are warm from the day, but the air around them is cool. Vines climb slowly over old blocks. Moss settles in corners. Nothing is hurried here. Far behind, the larger city has become only a faint glow. Ahead, the forest holds its own lamps, fireflies, wet leaves, and the pale edge of moonlight on stone. The traveler leaves the shelter when the rain has eased. The path is darker now, but familiar enough to follow by sound. Water to one side, frogs in the low ground, and the occasional brush of a branch against another branch. Each temple is a small island of order within the trees. At one wall, an old carving catches the moon. Its details are not fully clear, yet the curve of a hand and the fold of a garment remain. Stone lasts, but it also changes slowly with rain, shade, moss, and the touch of those who come to pray. The forest accepts this change without hurry. It closes softly around paths, then opens again where people still need to pass. In the spaces between trunks, the path catches a little moonlight. It is enough to show a stone step, a shallow pool, and a line of roots leading toward another quiet sanctuary.
Time moves gently over Angkor. A city does not vanish in one sound or one night. Roads remain useful for a while. Canals continue to carry water. Families still tend gardens, pray at shrines, and travel between familiar places. Yet the center of life can shift. A court may spend more time elsewhere. A channel may need more care than it receives. A market road may grow quieter. What once seemed fixed begins to feel more distant, not broken, but less often visited. The tropical land receives every pause in human attention. Grass rises along the edges of stone. Roots enter small seams. Leaves gather in courtyards after rain. Water stands quietly in places where feet once passed each day. The towers do not fall into darkness all at once. They remain visible above the trees, changing with sun, cloud, and moon. Carved faces continue to look outward. The moats hold sky. The galleries hold shadow. Later travelers will find paths still leading through the forest. They will see walls, ponds, terraces, and towers, and they will sense that a great human world once moved here with purpose and care. For now, the city simply grows quieter. Its activity recedes like a boat moving away on dark water, until only the soft sound of the shore remains. This quiet is not emptiness. It contains rain in the gutters of stone, wind in the high grass, and the movement of animals along old paths. It contains the memory of meals cooked, boats launched, offerings placed, and children called home at dusk. As years gather, some paths become less direct. A pool may fill with leaves. A terrace may be visited less often. But water continues to find its level, and trees continue to shade the walls. The landscape does not erase Angkor. It gently changes the way Angkor is seen. The city becomes a place of distance. It is held by stone and water, then by roots and mist, and finally by the calm attention of those who arrive after the busiest days have passed. Each season adds another delicate layer. New grass after rain, dry leaves in the galleries, a fuller pond, a quieter road. Change comes softly, without needing to be called a ruin. The night journey has become lighter now, almost like a memory carried by water. The roads of Angkor are no longer crowded in the mind. They are pale paths between trees, leading past still ponds and sleeping fields. Somewhere, a temple face rests above the leaves. Somewhere, a lantern burns behind a wooden wall. Somewhere, rice water reflects the moon, and a small boat slips into reeds without leaving more than a widening circle. The city can be imagined not as one fixed place, but as many quiet moments held together. A mason touching stone, a child following a canal bank, a monk crossing a court, a gardener lifting water, a traveler resting beneath a pavilion roof. All these moments pass gently into the larger night. The towers become silhouettes. The canals become ribbons of dim light. The forest gathers close, patient and green, around every wall and road. There is no need for the city to speak loudly now. Its history has become a distant warmth beneath the leaves. Water settles. Insects continue their small music. The air moves softly through palm fronds. Angkor drifts farther away, but its reflections remain. Stone in moonlight, incense in rain, and the calm faces watching over the dark. The road is now only a suggestion beneath the trees. It may lead to a gate, a pond, a sleeping house, or a temple court, but there is no need to follow it farther. The city has opened and then receded, leaving its gentle shapes behind the eyelids of memory. In the warm darkness, the details join together. Wet stone, soft smoke, a rice field after rain, a wooden boat, a carved face, and a far bell carried on air too faint to name. Each image arrives, rests for a moment, then floats away. The night keeps them all without effort. It does not ask for an ending. It simply carries the old city onward, deeper into mist, leaves, and the quiet sound of water. There is room in this darkness
for every small sound. A drop from a leaf, a wing above the path, a distant frog answering another. They make no demand. They simply belong to the same wide, sleeping landscape. The old city rests within that landscape, neither near nor far, but gently present beneath the trees.
The path comes to rest beside a quiet pool at the edge of the forest.
Behind the trees, the towers of Angkor are only faint shapes now, softened by mist and distance. The water is still. A leaf lands on its surface and makes one small circle, then another. Frogs call from the reeds. Somewhere high in the canopy, warm wind touches the leaves and passes on. The old roads, temples, canals, and fields can remain where they are, held gently in the night. Nothing needs to be explained further. The city has become a far, peaceful presence beneath the moon. Around the pool, jungle sounds slowly take the foreground. Rainwater falling from a branch, insects singing in the dark, the low rustle of palms, the stone faces and distant towers recede into shadow. Only the forest remains close now. Water, leaves, night air, and the soft, unbroken music of the tropical dark. A branch moves somewhere above the pool. The ripples it makes are too small to see from the bank, but the water receives them and becomes still again. The same gentle rhythm passes through the reeds, the palms, and the farthest trees. Angkor can rest in the distance. The road, the faces, the bridges, and the towers have all become part of the night landscape. Ahead, there is only the continuing sound of rain-soft leaves, slow water, and the deep jungle around the old city. The sound goes on without a beginning or an end. It is the sound of the jungle holding the night, ready to continue long after the last words have become still.